This conference will now be recorded.
Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes and we get into it. Meanwhile, I will be placing the points. So these are the things what we gonna discuss now. Uh, First thing, Pardu, I think due to Ganesh Chaturthi, some of the team are not available. I think I make them to share it by night or something like that, Pardu. Okay, you'll be getting yesterday's class. Yesterday we discussed about regression algorithm, which linear regression we discussed it. Yeah. Today we are discussing about ML classification algorithm. So these are the points we covered now, which is a business case about the classification algorithm. And the second, we understand the feature engineering part of it. And the third point, we try to discuss about how your deployment need to look like. Means how the deployment need to look like is the third thing. How our deployment need to look like. Based on that, we try to go for the deployment. How our deployment, or we can say the prototype, need to look like. And the fourth thing, after discussing all this, we need to choose a right algorithm. Why? In the sense, in this deployment or the prototype need to give us the better accuracy. So choosing the right algorithm, I'm not saying ML or DL, but just saying like choosing an algorithm. After choosing algorithm, we need to know why it is, why this particular algorithm. And the fifth, we will be discussing about whatever the model we got, we serialize the model. And the sixth point, after serializing it, we try to means we have written our we whatever the model we constructed on top of our Python. So we need to save two files for deployment, proc file and requirement file. So requirement file is nothing but all your pip.free is going to give you all the installed libraries in your system. So requirement file is nothing but your this one, what exactly we say, your install library, so that when you are deploying a model, your deployment thing going to install all the dependency libraries. For that reason, we want a requirement file, and proc file is in order to map your application. And after that, seventh point is nothing but we try to push it into Heroku or any of the server. What exactly Heroku and all this, I will be discussing it. So this is the plan for today's agenda, what we are discussing in entire. So we will be doing end-to-end the deployment of it. So we are good to go with it. Now let us discuss about the business case. Let me go with a simple business case and try to let me know why we need to, what data we need to go with. We all are aware of, now for a simple example, I want to take a simple business case, gym planner. We already know this, which is nothing but BMI, body mass index. If you're able to give your age, if you're able to give your height, if you're give your particular weight, it is able to give us the body mass index, BMI. So based on this, I think again based on age factor, height factor, and weight factor, we are able to say whether a person is healthy or whether a person is obese or whether a person is something like underweight or overweight. In this way, we are able to extremely obese. In this way, we are able to get the categories. And based on the particular pattern, if you are getting into lean, you want to follow one sort of diet, and if you are trying to get from obese to overweight, another sort of diet. If you are underweight, in order to make you healthy, we need to follow another sort of diet. Now there is one plan in my brain. Just I'm trying to figure out a business case. Even you can think in use the chat. Don't use this one mic. That is one of my sincere request. Why? In the sense, it would be easy while we are sharing the recording. And please use the chat if you want to communicate. And I want to, normally we all know BMI is helpful. If you are able to give age, height, and weight, I'm able to say whether you are this. But if I'm able to give age, height, and the weight, it need to predict whether a person is healthy or not. And if a person is healthy, what to do? Or if a person is overweight, what to do? Means it need to give me a plan. For example, if a person is overweight, in order to make him too healthy, what is the diet we need to do? So he need to do any workout, plus what type of diet he need to maintain, plus in this way it need to give me some suggestion. So by doing it, a person who is overweight can be converted into healthy. Now this is the plan, means this need to be my output. My output need to consist of whether a person is overweight. In case if a person is overweight, whether he is a healthy person or not. So in order to get into a healthy person, what is the diet we need to maintain? So in this way, I want to give the people a diet plan, like a Healthify app or something like that. I want to give a diet plan. For that reason, I thought of using like machine learning. I thought of using machine learning, but I want to go and I want to sell this prototype to some of the gym people. I want to sell this to some of the gym people. In order to sell this prototype to some of the gym people, I need to know how my environment need to look like. So for that reason, I just want to get some idea from you. What type of data? Let's collect it. Can anyone give me an idea? So when I done with some of the team provided me some of the data, something like this. Let me show you some data points. So once make sure whether this data is good or bad. I don't know. You can make a statement whether this data is something good or bad. For this reason, again, I'm going to another system. Now we are doing feature engineering. I hope everyone got the idea what exactly we are trying to do. You got the idea about the particular problem statement. Once confirm me, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the idea. So please use the this one if you don't mind. Chat. So when I asked my team to construct this, 1 minute, I'll be sharing with the data. Here you go. You are able to check the data here. You can view my screen where when I asked my team to do it, they collected me this data. So when the age is 48, when height is 4.10, and the weight is 86, based on the BMI calculator, the BMI index is body mass index is 40, and based on the body mass index, the class is extremely obese. And the prediction is when the particular class is extremely obese, so we are able to make a statement extremely obese, then you need to do normal exercise and you need to go with some sort of yoga plus heavy diet control plus tips. In this way, if you are able to do like this, you are able to get into obese. In this way, they created the data. It's like data creation. Even we are able to see some typo errors, some mistakes, and all this kind of thing. We are able to notice it here. Again, if you are healthy, in order to get into simple diet, means if you want to be healthy to fitness, plus protein plus, it means you can be healthy. In case already if you are healthy, you can be healthy by doing some workout, taking some protein and some simple diet. In this way, this person means this is all depend upon the data scientist who recreated this particular data. Now I want to import this data into my I already have the script for this, I think so. Let me use, let me open Anaconda. Let's see. I already let me import this. They're the same data. Now you can see here, you can change the path in order to load it. But I want to do some necessary corrections. But before getting into the script and explaining all this, let me go back to Jupyter and I just want to play with it for a couple of minutes. Why? In the sense here, there are some mistakes in the coding. And where this gym data is available. Gym data. Yep, I got this data. Let me go back to Jupyter. Here, let me import pandas. So whatever are required, let me copy them. I imported all these libraries and I want to check the path. I'm setting it to downloads and I want to import some gym data. Some gym is the data set name. pd dot read underscore. What is the extension of this file? The extension of the file I'm able to see is XLSX. So I want to go with read underscore Excel of data of gym dot XLSX version. Let me print this data. I got the data. Yeah, print gym dot head. I got the first few rows. Now, in order to construct the model, what are all the inputs I need to collect? So can you select me the input parameters? What need to be the input parameters? So now let's do, means like this is what, when I explain my problem statement, so we need to take age, height, weight, body mass index, and based on the body mass index, we are able to get, so based on these three factors, we are able to calculate the body mass index and we are able to get the class extremely obese or not. And if it is extremely obese, this is the prediction which we are trying to do. Now, anyone may know what need to be the input parameters. So what need to be the input parameters? From age to class is the input, or what I need to take the input parameters. So let's take Pardu. So Sheikh, you're saying Abhishek, few people are saying age, height, and weight. Why age, height, and weight? Why not age, height, weight, BMI, and class? Why not? If I take all the like age to class, what happens? Why only age, height, and weight? So we are able to calculate the BMI based on age, height, and weight. All right. So means some people are saying BMI. So shall I go with age, height, weight, and BMI, or I need to take even, shall I take only age, height, and weight? What do you say? Shall I take age, height, weight, and BMI? What do you say? Is that a good deal to go with? Age, height, weight, and BMI. Even shall I go with class as well, Pardu? Okay. What happens if I go with the class? Does it work? If I go with class, does it work? Means I'm asking what happens if I take up to class, what happens? Let me try it. I want to try up to class. So where gym, I want to take x equal to. So now your algorithm takes this alphabetical data. That is the doubt. Do your ML algorithm accepts this class alphabetical data? Means like you have extremely obese. Does it work? So it doesn't work. So what we need to do? We need to do one hot encoding. So let me do one hot encoding. So to do one hot encoding, the same gym. I want to store it in the same column class equal to. So label encoder dot fit underscore transform of gym of class. So now let me print the gym. Yeah, it worked. Gym dot head command. So I'm able to get this alphabetical data. That's great. I got this alphabetical data got converted to numerical thing, but I want to see is it properly encoded or not. So let me check gym of class dot value underscore counts. I got it. So you were able to see zero class or a very less number of rows he collected, and for rest of the classes 3, 5, 2, 1, 4, there is an equal count. That's good. And let me split the data x equal to what is that? We need to go with iloc. So gym of all rows, comma up to fourth. I think so. Is it up to fourth? So iloc. So let me print this x dot head command. BMI, even you want class as well. So I want to take it up to 5 and y equal to gym dot iloc all rows, comma 5 colon and y dot head command where I got predictions extremely obese. And then I will be using this train underscore test underscore split command. And this is more or less like common. I want to pick this. Let me take a few lines here. This is splitting of the data, train underscore test underscore split command. And after splitting, I want to call random forest. And after random forest algorithm, I want to go with prediction. Predicted me the results. And I want to plot a confusion matrix and a classification report. Wow. And it is giving, I think so, it is giving pretty good accuracy. Like it is able to do 100% classification. Why it is doing 100% classification? This is something fishy. I'm finding it. It is able to give 100% accuracy. 100%, not even a single error. Why it is so 100%? That is the doubt. It is giving me 100% accuracy. By the way, the data, whatever we collected, it is able to take, it is learning, it is able to give me 100% accuracy. I am removing the random state. The purpose of random state is in order to maintain the same sample to pick every time we use random state. I just want to change. Again, I want to run it. So this random state, the sample may change. And again, I'm looking. Again, it is giving the same 100% accuracy. Why it is giving 100% accuracy? Yes, you get the recording of it. So why it is giving 100% accuracy is the doubt. Why 100%? Anyone? Input parameters are wrong in the sense, Abhishek, may you know what may be the reason? If input parameters are wrong, it should not give accuracy, right? It is giving accuracy. Means what is the problem? Means yes. So we included class 2. So class is a very straight relationship, right? So if it is no need to take, practically speaking, if you are giving class column, there is no point in this three columns: age, height, weight, BMI. Why? In the sense, so based on this numbers, you got the class. So if the class is extremely obese, this is the diet. So it is one-on-one relationship. There is no need to build anything. So based on the class, you segregate it into 4 categories or 5 categories, and based on that, you are able to say this is the plan. If this is the class, this is the diet. If this is the plan, if this is the diet, it's done. It's a straight one-to-one relationship. That's the reason your algorithm is giving 100% accuracy. So shall I drop the class column? What do you say? Shall I drop the class column? Class is due to class. I'm getting one-on-one relationship. Shall I drop the class column? All right, let me drop the class column. Rather than choosing up to 5, I'm choosing up to 4, up to BMI. And this is again only output. Let me split the data: X train, X test, Y train, Y test. Let me fit the model, test it, predict it. Again, now it is giving 100% accuracy. Hardly one error you got it. 1 point you got the error at this. But most of the time it is giving 100% accuracy. Why? One-to-one relationship in the sense, see, your class and extremely obese are having one-on-one relationship, something like this. So how exactly the data is written? The data is written in this way. If the class, in the class there are categories. What are the categories? You have extremely obese, you have overweight, you have underweight, you are healthy. In this way, you have some parameters. If you are extremely obese, you want to follow this diet. Extremely obese to some to be like obese. This is the diet. This is what you have in prediction. Overweight, you have something like this. Means in this way, there is one-on-one relationship with class. So is there any point to take BMI now? Now, even by using a BMI as well, you are getting 100% accuracy. Again, BMI is having one-on-one relationship with this. Is it right? So how these three columns are created? If BMI value is ranging from some this value to this value, they categorized into class as one. If this is this class, in order to convert you from this class to class 0, this is the diet you want to follow. Now see, now BMI, class, prediction, all these three things are having one-on-one relationship. So is there any point in taking all the three columns and these two columns primarily into your input? Does it make any sense? Does it make any sense to take this BMI and the class into input? No, it doesn't make sense. So what we are trying to do here, I want to drop the three, what are the two columns, BMI and other column as well. Let me go here. Let me make it 3. And I want to execute it. Y head. I want to split the data: X train, X test, Y train, Y test. And I want to predict it. Now you are able to see the accuracy. You're able to get how much? 0.83% accuracy. Is it a good model? It's average. Okay, that's okay. It's not doing well, but okay. And it is having a better accuracy in making this particular class is having more accuracy. It is able to classify underweight pretty well, and it is able to classify extremely obese pretty well, and it is having very poor accuracy in classifying healthy. Means the accuracy is not up to the mark whatever we expected. It is doing okay kind of thing. We have a lot of algorithms to play with, but we need to understand. So now based on this, we finalize the features. Now what need to be the input now? How exactly your environment need to look like, your deployment need to look like. You need to open a web application. You need to open a web application. If you are opening a web application, you need to get, there are 3 parameters: age, height, weight. If a user is providing a age, height, weight, these parameters, this is your front end. This is your front end for an application. And this information need to be flooded to the backend. Inside this backend, you have your ML algorithm. ML algorithm is available where it is there in your backend. So when you're submitting this age, height, weight, when you click a submit button, the information is getting to the backend and it is pushed to your ML algorithm. It is making the predictions and these predictions are displayed here in the web application. So this is how my prototype need to look like. This is how my prototype need to look like. So in order to construct the ML algorithm, we have the data scientist. And in order to write the front end, how you write a front end? You write a front end using HTML. You're gonna write the backend using Flask, which is nothing but your Python. If you are a very good developer, you may be using PHP or you may be using this one, what is that, Java, core Java, all this kind of thing. You use it and you write down the backend. But here, as of now, we are using Flask to write the backend of this web application. So you got the ML script which you have written now recently, but the accuracy is not good. But in order to get this, in order to run this application, you want HTML, you want the Python, or you want the Flask application, and you want this ML algorithm which you have already written it. But you can't use that ML algorithm as it is to your backend. You want to do serializing, means only you want one line from this algorithm which you have written in Python. I'll be showing how you do it. You got all this, but to run this application, you want a server. In order to run this application, what you want, you want a server. Then what you do? Yes. So now you want a server. Majorly, the big companies are going to purchase the server. If you are working with Google, if you are working with Amazon, if you are working with PayPal, if you are working with any of the companies, like if you are working with product-based companies, you need to be familiar with deploying the models to existing tools. If you are working with anything, like if you are working with Genpact, if you are working with PayPal, Walmart, or etc., you need to construct the models to their servers. You can't take a server from the third party. So most of the product based companies owns their server, means you want to deploy this into a server. Without deploying, you can't type URL www dot something. In order to run something like that, you want a server. So you want to purchase a server, but most of the time we can't purchase a server. Only big companies, they invest it and they buy it. That's the reason there is a concept called as platform as a service, like cloud platform as a service. There are various providers who came into the market and they give their platform, means you can take your applications and you can host it into their servers, so that they will be giving some URL for it. So we call it as, there are various cloud platforms as a service they provided, which is like Heroku you can use, or you can go with your AWS, you can use your Azure, you can use your GCP, any of the platforms. From this, you are able to take this platform as a service, and you can take your entire application and you can run it in their particular. You can take this, means the combination of HTML, backend, and ML. You need to run it into your this particular services, so that you are able to open it and you can see it. So this is the process we are doing. Now let's get into step-by-step process. Every time in a software development, we need to remember a few things. The first thing, you need to write a front end. Front end is what your customers are viewing. Front end is something what customers are viewing. And back end is something which runs this entire backend is holded by your, sorry, the entire front end is holded by your backend. So the button up, how a button need to work, from where we need to extract the data, what we need to open, all these things are taken care by backend. And the beautification of it, the colors and etc. are done in the front end using HTML or CSS or bootstrapping. Now inside this backend, we need to place your ML algorithm. And practically speaking, we need to run the backend. So this backend comprises of ML algorithm. This backend comprises of this particular front end layer. Everything are present inside this backend. Now this ML algorithm runs based on various libraries you install. Means this ML algorithm runs on various dependencies. Now all this, what are all the libraries you used? For example, now if Heroku is giving me a third-party service, Heroku is giving me a service to run my applications. So now I'm person from India, from some location, I'm using this particular app to run this particular application. I'm using some bunch of what is that libraries. So Heroku may not be making all the libraries to be available in ready. That's the reason what they do is you need to create one file. So in order to run any Heroku application, Heroku app need to contain this particular things. One is app.py. App.py is nothing but your backend, which you have written using Flask, or it can be through Django. App.py, where exactly this is your backend of this script. And you need to get your HTML files, .html. It may be home.html, or it can be your index. Whatever may be, whatever the name you are giving. This is your front end. If you are deploying any model into Heroku, these are the things which you need to consider. Another one is your serialized file, .pickle file. If you are using ML models, it is a .pickle file. If you are going with deep learning, it is H5 files. You will be going with. We call it as a serialized ML model. ML model, which is trained. Only the trained one you will be taking it, which is serialized .pickle file. And another one, whatever the this one, for example, it may be like in order to run this backend or in order to run anything, you may be using lot of libraries you already executed in your system. All these libraries need to be there. For that, you go with requirements.text file. What is the purpose of requirements? Whatever the libraries you used in your Python, the same libraries to push it to the cloud, to install it over there, we want this requirements.text file. And in order to connect the app, you use this proc file. In order to connect your particular thing with Heroku, you use this particular proc file. These are some of the requirements which you need to make sure. All the things need to be present in a folder. You need to write a HTML. You need to write a backend. You need to generate a pickle file. You need to create a requirement.txt file, just like saying pip freeze. You are able to get the all the install libraries and save that into a txt file. You get a requirement.txt file and a proc file. Web gone icon, whereas you will be getting app equal to colon app. That's it. You will be getting the proc file. Just in order to map your Heroku with an application, you want this proc file. That's it. Now let me go back. Let's go with serializing first. I want to do the step-by-step operation. I want to make sure my HTML is ready. I want to make sure my app.py is ready. Now we want to first create a pickle file. Now the accuracy is not good, but we need to grow the accuracy. So deployment is different and release is different. The purpose of deployment is not to release it to a live to the live environment. The purpose of deployment is just to analyze the model with live data. In order to understand the performance of our model with the live data, we try to deploy it. Based on the performance in the deployment, we try to push it to the release. That is the process. Now let us go back to the scripting. Let me go back here. So why I'm specifically choosing random forest algorithm here? Again, here there are a lot of parameters, input parameters, like we can allocate class weights. We can go with the bootstrapping equal to true. There are a lot of hyperparameters inside, but why I have chosen estimators or etc. You can optimize it. Normally, these hyperparameters need to be optimized, but why specifically random forest? Why not logistic, or why not decision trees, or why not other algorithms? Is random forest is one of the very stable algorithm comparatively to your other algorithms. So there are two stable algorithms which are very good for the deployment. One is your random forest, and another one is support vector missions. They are very good, and they maintain a very good precision rate when compared to other algorithms. That is one of the major reason why we are knocking the door. Try to mute everyone. So for that reason, we are going with random forest algorithm. Why random forest is very good. We need to optimize the parameters. I'm not focusing about accuracy now. Normally, we need to convince the client. We don't go to this process until we convince the client, until we guide him towards this is the best, until we convince him that means the client may be having some requirements. I want the model to be at 90% or 95% or etc. He will be having some requirements. Until we meet that requirements, we can't push it to the deployment. Only once the client requirements are met, then we go to deployment. But let's imagine the client is okay with 84% accuracy or whatever may be the number. But why random forest is it is giving more stable results when compared to other algorithms. For that stability, I'm choosing random forest. And after completion of this, I want to do serializing of the model. This is called serializing of the model. Now I'm saving the model here. If you look onto it, by using pickle file, I want to serialize the model. So here model underscore Jim is my so random forest classifier. I trained the model and I stored this trained instances. We call this trained instances are nothing but the estimators. I'm storing it inside model underscore Jim. So the entire intelligence of this Jim data is available and inside this model underscore Jim. So by using this model underscore Jim, I want to serialize this. So there is no point in test data. Why? In the sense there is no use with test. Test is only the purpose. Again, how well our algorithm understood the entire thing. Only to check it, we go with test data, but we need to say only model underscore Jim. This is very important. Now I serialize the model, and the serialized model, if you want to test it here, even you can test it by passing the particular age, height, and the weight. You can pass it, and you can see the results even here. Or if you want, you can directly this one you can take this serialized file and you can write the HTML of it. Let me show you the HTML. Now I serialized it. It is available in my system. You can see here it is model.pickle, which is available. Now this is the backend of it. You are able to see this is the backend script which I'm able to notice, where I want to import the Flask files. I want to import NumPy, Pandas. What are all the dependency libraries required? I'm invoking this model underscore Jim into this application. And if you are able to look onto it, I'm defining a particular thing. I want to extract the data from my front end. So how my front end need to look like? Let me show you how my front end going to look like. Inside the templates, I have the front end layer, home.html. In case if you are good with HTML, you can write better HTML than this. This is something we made it pretty dummy. This is your home.html scripting, where you are able to see, I want to provide age in years, and I want to provide the input, then height, then weight. I want to provide all this, and I want to click on the submit. I want to click on the submit button so that it is able to give me the predictions. So in order to give the predictions, again, I want to open one more. If you look onto this HTML scripting, there is a title, Gym App Prediction. And there are names, age in years, height in feet, weight in kgs. In this way, we have this HTML. After predicting it, you want to push it to the another template. If you are able to notice it, the template is after.html is the another template which it need to open. In case while you're writing this application, so what you are doing, you need to, while you are writing all these things, you are defining the flow of it. You need to go to render underscore template, you need to go home and home.html, and it is predicting the results. After predicting it, again it need to go to the templates and it need to go with after.html. In case if any of these things are not matching, your application may get deployed, but you are unable to get anything. It's gonna throw you some internal server error or something. Why? In the sense it is unable to find this after.html. It is able to predict the results, but I want to showcase it to the after.html. But how to show it? Going to search for after.html. So while you are writing HTML also, you need to be very clear with the folder navigations, with the extensions, with the names, everything. It need to be properly defined. So you are giving 3 columns. The 3 columns are getting extracted into the backend. So, and they are storing into this data 1, data 2, data 3, and all these data things are created as an array, and we are passing it into this model. So this model is giving the prediction. So this predicted result need to be showcased as the data, and I need to project it, or I want to push it into the after.html. What is there inside after.html? This is after.html. I want to open that with Visual Studio. So this is after.html. So based on that, if it is 0, means like in the prediction, what exactly it is there, it's gonna say 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. In this way, it classified. If it is 0, what is the particular class? Is it overweight or is it healthy? In case if it is 0 and you have written some wrong name, it's going to give some other. Why? In the sense, in the back end, this is something related to front end, what you are writing. So again, if there is any error, the user may see something wrong about it. So you are overweight. So 0 is something like healthy, but you have written it as overweight. It shows as overweight. Even though the person is good, it says as overweight. In this way, we need to write even this front end in a proper way. This is after.html. Now I got after.html, home.html, and this is my backend. This is my backend, and these are, so from the backend I'm accessing it, and even my ML algorithm which I trained it using Jupyter or using sklearn is available here. I called it into the backend. Now I want to take all this and I want to deploy it into my cloud. So in order to make all this process simplified, we want what, in order to deploy this, you want even this proc files, your etc, like app files. All like proc file is nothing but you'll be having let me show you what is there in proc file. It is nothing but web colon gunicon, where app colon app, that's it. You'll be finding in this one proc file, and inside this requirements.txt, these are the files which are available. Flask, gunicon, something, whatever the libraries which are available in my system, all the libraries are installed here. In case if I'm having a lot of libraries, all the libraries going to be available in the requirements.txt. Now the deployment to Heroku is pretty simple. In case if you are having a GitHub account, it is so simple. Normally we need to deploy anything through Git or GitHub. Why? In the sense, in case in real-time companies now we are using public domain in Git, but in companies we go with the private usage. We go for it. We may not be going with what is that public one. We go with the private thing, but this is something free things which are not dummy data and all this. So we are going with basic public thing, where you need to open GitHub as well, GitHub account, where in the GitHub, whatever the files I have in my system, if you click on new, you can create a repository, and this is the repository which I created. You're able to see templates, model underscore gym, proc file, readme file, app.py file, requirement file, and inside this you have the templates where you are able to see after.html and home.html, and this is the Heroku. You can create a free account for Heroku. I just want to create one more. Let me click on new. I want to create a new application. You can click on new application, and the application name can be I want to create gym hyphen app and something like 456. Let me see. Yes, it is available. I want to create an app. Now all the files which I have in my system, I want to connect it to Git. If you are having a Git account, you can just click on GitHub. You can give the repo name. Repo name is gym hyphen app is the repo name, and I want to search it in this particular Git. Yes, I have the gym hyphen app. I want to make sure whether the same thing I have it. Yes, it is gym hyphen app. Now let me go back. Let me say connect. So now bpec, this particular thing is got connected. Now you want to go with deploy the branch, entire thing you can deploy it. In case if you are, for example, what exactly this is, enable automatic deploys, in the sense, in case if you are going with version control, I'll be explaining that, but let's go for it. Now all this libraries, whatever you're having is getting installed here. All the libraries which are available in your system based on the requirement.txt, they are getting installed. I'll be showing it. Yeah, I'll be showing it, Varun. So you got the app. Now it is deployed to Heroku, and this is the link. Now I'm using a free version. That's the reason Heroku app you're able to get it. But in case if you're using something paid, you can customize that. No need of branding of Heroku. You can give the number. I can give age, height, and weight, and I can give the predict. So it is able to say you are extremely obese. See, the model is inaccurate. So when I'm giving the numbers, it is saying I'm extremely obese. Again, let me try it. I want to go back to the home. And again, let me give some numbers like 27, some height, again, some 5.7, some weight is like, we can go with the 67. I'm reducing one number, predict, you are healthy. So now see, the same numbers, just change in one number, it is giving you are healthy. It is not stable. One time it is giving you are extremely obese, another time it is giving you are healthy. So the model is not good. Now, what you will be doing, this is not doing pretty well. Find distance in the deployment environment, when users are using it, it is not giving the stable results. So now again, I go back to the Python, I collect more data. I will be trying to retrain this model. I try to go with more data I collected. Again, I retrain it. Now I will be going with model underscore gym version 2, something. I want to save it version 2. The same version 2, what I will be doing, I'll be going to the deployment. So I'll be just doing the version control in the GitHub, where instead of using this particular what exactly, instead of using this what is that model.gem, even in the backend you have this pickle file version 2, you'll be placing it. Even inside the app.py you will be using the version 2, and again you try to deploy it. So again, why to go with continuous time every time? Can't I need to go and deploy it? No need to do it. So in case if there is anything, if there is continuous integration is happening, you can directly go and enable automatic deployment. So whenever a new update or new version is coming, automatically it get deployed. In case no, you can schedule the deployments. Basically, you can schedule deployments, no need to schedule it, but releases need to be scheduled. You can go and you can schedule the particular deployments or releases. This is what we do. So in case Kant, Heroku and all these things are not good, if I want to manage this deployments continuously, every once in 1 or 2 months we change our model, once in 2 months we make our changes in our machine learning model. Why? In the sense, machine learning algorithm is not for a span of 1 or 2 months. So if you are doing a machine learning project, you take up that project and you work with the client for 1 or 2 years. Why? In the sense, you need to update the changes, you need to continuously deploy it, you need to continuously do the thing. So for that reason, you need to do version controlling and all this. So all these things you manage. For this managing all this, you want to get the DevOps ecosystem going to come into the picture, where we use Jenkins, and inside Jenkins we install all this kind of things like Chef, Docker, Kubernetes, Git, all this kind of thing. We can install it inside Chef, and we can manage all this. And project management, you can do it with Maven. In this way, there are a lot of tools within Jenkins. We can use all these things. So this is like up to machine learning, means until you are making a data serialization comes into machine learning or a data science profile. It may be data machine learning algorithm. Now it is not doing well. Now the goal is you want to construct a great solution. Now what you need to do, you want to go with the right this one, deep learning algorithm, or you want to go with any deep learning algorithms, you want to try with Markov chains, or you want to try whatever it may be, algorithms available. You need to read it and you want to update it. In this way, a data scientist updates is, he take up say single project, but he keep on updates the application whatever he created. Now the same thing, you want to do it with a text. You take up a text as the initial thing, you may try it with an ibase, it is not doing well. Again, in order to get the deployment better, you try to go with something like what is that, deep learning algorithms, or you, instead of taking a text, you directly take the voice and you try to do it. So depends upon the requirement, you try to keep on updating the things. You don't directly go and do an audio thing. In case if you go and say I'm working on audio project, people may find it something fishy to accept it. Why? In the sense, no client going to directly give a audio file. First anyone starts from text and then they move to audio. In this way, any company starts with machine learning and they go to deep learning. That is the journey. But end of the day, we need to go and stop at deep learning. That is the overall process. Is it clear? Once confirm me the deployment process. And any algorithm, the same process going to happen. And this is what present inside the proc file, just a web colon gunicon app dot app. That's it, app colon app. That only one line is available in the proc file. And requirement file is nothing but your libraries which install in your system. In order to make sure your in order to make your Heroku to recognize this particular thing as an app, to recognize it, you are writing this gun icon. That's the reason, Parthu, we don't go with 20 to 30 features in a deployment. We need to go with as less as possible. That's the reason we call, there is a technique called as feature engineering. Requirement file directly go to your pip. You can directly say pip freeze. You get the things. You can directly save it, or you can go to your terminal pip freeze and give the requirement.txt. Save it. If you do pip freeze, you'll be getting all the libraries installed, and then you can save it. Got it? Yeah. Most of the time, deployment nowadays companies are not going with this kind of mode. We don't do their deployment with this. Nowadays, companies are using Jupyter with AWS SageMaker. From that, we are able to do deployment and all this pretty simplified version. Even your Heroku uses internally Docker itself. It may not be like a normal thing. It uses a Docker itself, but from the Docker, it creates a Docker image, and from the Docker image, it go and it deploy the application. Now see, Ashish, when once you deployed the model, now you deployed one instance. Now when you say like you deployed the model, you deployed this particular model.gym. After that, in order to change the columns or etc., you need to again, you want to retrain the things. Again, you get another pickle file. You want to take this another pickle file. Again, this input parameters need to match with your deployment. If you're adding more input parameters, again, you need to change the front end. You need to change the back end. Again, you want to change all the requirements, entire thing you want to change it. And again, you want to release the model into the app. Again, you want to deploy it. That's how you do it. So there are two differences. Deployment is different, release is different. So deployment is not the area where a customer is interacting. Deployment is meant only for a data scientist or for this particular internal developers to see how this application is working, how this application is doing well. And based on that, in case if application is doing pretty good, then we try to release the model to the environment. There the customer is going to work on it. Now let's take like beta version, right? For our applications, Apple or all these people, they try to work on beta version. Do you know beta versions? They release it for iOS and all this. So beta versions are kind of deployment, we can say. Kind of deployment. I'm not saying complete deployment. It is a release as well. Normally, it is a kind of a release where these people can install and they use it. And on September someday, they will be releasing this thing to entire all this iOS phones going to get the update. That is the release. There you can install the application. So all these days, what they will be doing is they try to deploy it. They look on to the particular application, how it is working for a couple of days, and then they give it to they make it beta release. And in that beta release, again, they try to see any errors are coming and all this, they fix it. And once everything is ready, they automatically they set the scheduling inside the Jenkins. Normally, if you are going with Jenkins, inside this we can go with the scheduling of the releases. So we can schedule the release time. Automatically, it get released to all the applications which are available, so that people can install it in their mobile. So now after releasing it, now you're getting errors. That's the reason again they try to do some necessary changes to their application file, and again they give another release. Another release is what? Again another version they release it. So in case if you're getting bugs, those bugs going to be fixed with this kind of release, what they do it in this way. The software development lifecycle going to happen. So if you're releasing an application, it is not 100%. That's the reason in interviews they ask you, whatever the application you have written or whatever ML you have written, is it something designed it for continuous integration and deployment? You need to continuously come up with new things and you want to deploy it into the environment, and there then it go to release. That is the process. Is it clear, everyone? Which one, Nabrun? Last part, in the sense, which one? Continuous integration and deployment, you are asking? This is continuous integration, and normally we call it as a DevOps lifecycle. Yeah, this is a DevOps lifecycle. Now you're able to see in this process where you are able to build the particular thing, you are able to test it, debug it, deploy it, monitor it, audit it, diagnose it, tune it, feedback it, analyze it, again edit it, again build it. This is the continuous life cycle. If you're looking into this image, this is the continuous life cycle. So build, test, deploy, debug, monitor, audit, diagnose, tune, feedback, analyze, edit, build. Again, the continuous process. So this is a continuous life cycle. Even for machine learning, it's a continuous life cycle. So in this entire development life cycle, machine learning is a part where you are trying to create the intelligence for the applications. That's it. So Varun, in companies, they ask this deployment life cycle, Arun. What is a continuous integration? What is continuous deployment? They ask you this life cycles. Why? In the sense, if you say if you say like I worked as a data scientist, you get into this life cycle. But all the companies means they may have an idea, but they may not write. For example, now you are not pros in HTML. You are not pros in writing front end and a back end. You may not be having all the knowledge. For example, see, these are all the tools we use it in the DevOps lifecycle. These are all the tools we use it. Eclipse, Zira for coding, Git we use it. So you use Puppet, Chef, Assembly for deployment. We use this Salt Stack. A lot of things we have it. So we will be using for testing. We use Selenium, JUnit. In this way, we go for all this. For releases, we go with Jenkins. In this way, there are a lot of for project management and all this, we go with Maven. So when I'm doing the DevOps classes, I used to explain all this. Like there are 16 to 24 tools which are available. While we are teaching DevOps, I will be doing with all these life cycles inside the DevOps. So even I'm into DevOps, so that's the reason I got this connection more easy. But normally all the data scientists may not be a DevOps people. All the data scientists may not be a DevOps people. So you need to have a knowledge up to serializing the model and up to deployment. Means deployment in the sense you may not be knowing HTML, all this. So what you'll be saying is uh, I'm just what you need to say is you'll be saying that we done the model up to serialization. Then our front end team, we got the software developers where they have written the HTML, and we got the backend team. They released the application for the backend, and on basis of that, they deployed it to a prototype. So in the prototype, I used to validate the results. So now you can't say I constructed HTML, I constructed backend, all this. You don't say it. So my team deployed it, then I sit with them and I then started monitoring the results. This is what you need to convey to them. Why in the sense this is a complete, why in the sense this whatever HTML backend, we call it as a full stack developer. A developer who handles both front end and a back end, we call him as full stack developer. And a person who is handling machine learning is a data scientist or an AI person. So AI person need to know this terminologies, but there is no means that he need to work on it. He can't work on both HTML and all this. It's a very big game to work on. And all this learning all this DevOps skills is a very difficult thing. It's no one gonna learn it. Why in the sense if a person can do both the deployment, both ML plus even full stack development, people going to pay them a very good salary and they're gonna hire it for sure. Even that is also one of the requirement. People who are having software development plus ML skill is something very good. Why in the sense I no need to hire another developer, or I no need to hire a data scientist to work on it. A developer can do this both the activities. That is something amazing as well. But companies are looking for AI people where they need to know this process. Why in the sense when I say I worked on a project, obviously you will be touching all these departments. Got it? Right, Chetan. You need to have an idea. Why in the sense you sit with the company, you see all this, right? All these things happens. And if you see, most of the time we have this doubt. What we do after, for example, what we do in most of the time is we build a code. Majorly, we build a code, or we can say we can take something like this. This process is simple, very good. So we build a code, we test it, and that's it. Majorly, we try to do all this. We build a code, we test it, and even if you are going with this one, Heroku, you deploying it. But this is the process. That's the reason when you when anyone is giving a call to you, in interviews, you will be explaining up to deployment, or you may explain up to testing a model, but you may not be explaining this entire life cycle. That's the reason the interviewer is going to get it out. Okay, what exactly I'm expecting? You are explaining me about algorithms, training, testing, evaluation. You are explaining me about how you collect the data, how you understand the data. You explain me about business case, and you deployed it. After deploying it, if you're going away, what is the process? What is the next process? The client may not be even worried. Even the client may not leave you. In case if you say I deployed the model, you released it. So you haven't released, you just deployed it. So by doing this continuous life cycle, you released it. After releasing again, you want to constantly monitor. Why in the sense you are suggesting a new process to a client which is not there in his environment. So you stick on to a particular client or a company for 1 or 2 years. Either you may work on it or your team may be getting into that and they will be working on it. So that is the process you need to know. I will be sharing these files and we will be updating the link soon, Ravi. You can get it. Once confirm me, is it clear or not up to this, whatever we discussed? So ML production is nothing but the same thing, Parthu. Deployment, if when you deployed a model to the particular server, we call it as ML production. In that production, you validate your model, you understand the model, how it is doing, how it is behaving, you monitor it, you audit it, you diagnose it, you tune it in case if it is not doing well. Based on this diagnosis, again you go back to your ML scripting, you tune it over there, and in this way you try to do the things. So in case if again in the diagnosis you are looking only at this one. Normally I'm not speaking only at an accuracy rate, but even in the deployment you want to look into the latency rate, you want to look into how speed the model is. Now when you're seeing about iPhone face unlock, it's not just about predicting the accuracy, it is also more about how well how what is the speed of this particular face unlock. We need to check it. Yes, right, Ravi. You need to convert into count vectorizer. Again, whatever the NLP you are doing, if you're going with NLP backend, you want to write all the NLP backend, all the NLP, whatever the cleaning you are doing, you need to write it in the backend. That is important. Not required. MongoDB, SQL, they are not required. So database knowledge is required. Database knowledge, which is related to data importing, is different. Data knowledge to create a database is different. So no need to learn about databases, which is related to your developing a website, developing a particular database, but you need to know a knowledge about extracting the data from the databases. That's what you expected. But you'll be getting it, Sharad. You need to have a bit of knowledge on SQL and all this. Why? In the sense, when I am doing deployment, for example, if we are doing any deployment, most of the deployments in some companies, we can do it with completely with AWS. I'll be showing you. When we are, for example, when normally few people know AWS and few people may not be knowing it, depends upon the company. I'm not saying for all the data scientists need to know AWS, but most of the cases, in case if you are a senior or if you're having some good experience, we try to do most of our automations using AWS itself, where we are able to do this kind of automations using AWS Lambda. Lambda is one of the very good service which helps us in order to combine multiple services within the AWS. Now, what we do in AWS is, for example, the data, what means like the data engineer would be owning entire AWS accounts. So in case if we want to do any automations in my company, what I used to do is like I used to collect the data from like RDSs. Relational databases are available in this one RDSs, or it may be some of the data is available, depends upon Athena, and NoSQL data are available in DynamoDB. So we try to, based on the data type we are doing with, we try to go the data engineer going to give us the access for the data what we are trying to work on. So we collect the data from that DynamoDB. In case most of the time I deal with unstructured data we store it in DynamoDB, sometimes in S3 buckets. So from there we collect the data and we try to store it. And in case if you are going with some very good records, if you are storing with very good amount of recorded informations, then we try to store that information into RDSs as well. That's how we do it. So like even while we are storing back into any of this thing like a relational database, now I am able to get the records and these numbers need to be stored in a relational database. Now I need to know how to create a database inside RDSs, and I need to give that particular key value, what is that primary key and all this, and I need to load the data over there. So like based on the work we try to learn it. That is what we do. But we don't directly learn everything before going to the job. We don't learn all this. But what you are doing now, most of the people is inside the internet. You have a lot. Like even I need to now. I said like I want to go and learn AWS Lambda and all this. So learning Lambda, learning RDSs, learning what is that Athena's Glues, AWS Glue. We have it in order to do ETL operations. You have this EC2 instances. We create even EC2 instances, and we try to create our own configuration system in the cloud. Some of our models we run it at 128 GB graphic card. We run it. So we run it on multiple TPUs and GPUs. So we need to create it all this, but we don't get everything in a single step. We will be sitting calls. We go with the calls. We understand the architectures. It takes a lot of time, and we can't do it like whatever we want. Again, for to do all this operation, again budgeting going to come into a crucial play. I need to see the budgeting with my client, what exactly the budget is happening, whether my company is able to bear all this or not. Now, if I go and say 128, if it is a product based company, they invest all this. I'm into product based company where I'm able to take all this stuff and I'm able to do it. But in case if you're into service, they don't invest all this kind of things. You need to go with a proper, if you are working with a service, again, finance going to be one of the pain area. Now you are saying deep learning, you are learning it, and I will be saying I will be working on deep learning trained models and all this, but your company need to invest it. And if you are trying to do anything, again they say pricing going to come into the play, security gonna come into the play. Again, they say, shall we implement blockchain? Blockchain is again another thing. In case if you are going with, I don't want web-based deployment, I want everything to be IoT-based deployment. Again, you want to buy that things which are very secure. Means it's like the ocean. Entire AI or data science is an ocean. You need to know which wing you are going with. You need to stick on to one particular thing. This is what I worked in my company. Other than this, I don't know. Why? In the sense, I can't judge you. For example, if you say I know SVM, you can't say that I know only SVM. I know SVM random forest. There is no rule for you, or you don't have any right to say, hey, this person know only SVM or random forest. Hey, I know 10 algorithms. You are a trainer. You do a job, but you know only two. There is no rule to say all this. Why? In the sense, that is what I worked in my company, and these are only two things I gone through. But one thing, whatever you worked on in a real time, if you say you worked on SVM, you sit for with SVM for 1 or 2 months. Only with SVM you stick for 1 or 2 months. You go very deep with the math. You want to submit things to the client. Why? In the sense, you are going to the deployment. Before going to the deployment, you want to tune the model. Means you need to study all the hyperparameters. You study every math of it. You read the research papers. If this sklearn is not doing well, and in some of the paper they said SVM is doing well, but you go to the research papers, you read it, and you write down the code on your own for SVM. In this way, you try to do it. You create your own pipeline completely with your hard coding. You do it. That's how. Means like when you go in an interview, if anyone says tell me about SVM, you play like anything in interviews. You don't say SVM is there is a hyperplane. There is this kernel trick, we call it as kernel trick, and this call as a kernel. Yes. In this way, we don't say. Why? In the sense, you stick and you learn on one algorithm for a long time. But what we do in our trainings, or even if you are learning this training, or if you are going with PG programs, they touch it something like a bookish is different, and when you're working is different. Even when, why? In the sense, I spend a lot of time with data scientists. I deliver training to data scientists. Then if I went near a data scientist and said, do you know CNNs? They said, we don't know CNN, we never worked on it. And they are 2 years in machine learning. And literally, I'm like, seriously to say, I done the training to them in 2017 ending, I think. So I done a training to them 2017 ending. They are like working on 2 years in data science, but I'm doing a training to them. Literally, they can speak anything in linear regression, anything in logistic, anything in decision tree. And they ask me, can't try to deliver me even decision tree and all this. I'm like, oh my God, these people are into two, like they are like 2 years or 3 years, and they are like MSc in statistician, MSc in statistics and all this. So you were able to identify, like when I'm teaching, there is nothing. Means I gone through entire internet and I read it, there's nothing to teach again to them. That's how I used to do it. Means when we are doing a training even to a data scientist, it comes it means then I get a clear picture. But when I'm speaking with learners, when I'm speaking this, they speak, I know machine learning, I feel like, okay, like I know I'm into machine learning, I know all this, I feel like, okay. Why? In the sense, it's in depth. Machine learning is in depth. And if I ask anything, one thing, if I ask decision tree, they speak everything. If I ask random forest, they speak everything. If I ask any, like they know every inch of it, every inch of it. That's the in depth. Why? In the sense, if I ask, do you know CN, they say, I don't know. There is nothing to feel down about it. Why? In the sense, there is no project I worked on it, so I don't know. That's all. And to say NLP, now you are into NLP, like in the trainings even, we do like after completion of all this, we get an NLP. The senior people, after working as a data scientist for 3 years, they get a project on NLP. They feel like, hey, I got an NLP project, do you know? They don't give NLP project for juniors. They don't give NLP project for entry level. They give NLP project only to the senior people to manage it or to work on it. Only NLP is like very hard coders get the NLP project to work. And some companies are like one person, one application. I mean, I'm giving views from a company point. In some companies, they give one application to one person. There may be 10 data scientists in a company. Each person work on each application. In case if there are any 10 years experience, these people don't sit and code. They know what exactly happening. Their goal is they understand the marketing trends, and they try to pitch in the new things to the companies. Now current trend in the companies where 10 plus people are working are as hyper automation. They're going with hyper automation. They are trying to sell this hyper automation to a lot of companies where they are creating the dumps, decks, and all this. What is exactly hyper automation is continuously integrating the automation into a business process. We call it as hyper automation. They're going into this hyper automations. So whatever you do, this is the life cycle. But you need to understand in a global view. Like in some companies, if the company is very big, you don't need to learn SQL and all this. Why? You have a team. This data engineer is going to give you the access. If you do anything, they want to give the permissions. You need to raise a ticket, then you get a permission, then you get the access to do all this. It's like, it's not something a ball game. You go to AWS of your company, you don't play the things. You need to raise a permission, you get the access. In case if there is a very big team, you're working with a startup, you are a database person, you are a HTML developer, you are a backend developer, you are a data scientist, you are a person who prepare the PowerPoints, you are a person who speak with the client. Depends which company you're working. You are purely a company who is working with data science, then each person, each application. You are a person with a product based company and it's a very big company, then you will be taking one particular application, you design everything, and based on this you have a team to work on whatever you want. You can do it, budget, everything they give you. If anything is happening, they're going to screw you. Product based, big company. And you see, man, what is the narration? What exactly you're deciding? Freshers, I seriously recently learned data science, recently learned machine learning, gone case, you don't get a job. You need to have some internship, only you get a job. That is another case. If you may be 10 years, you may be 20 years, you may be fresher, you got a certificate from great college, from a great university, gone case, you don't get a job. Like you may get into a normal company with a low pay scale. Only interns or some experienced people are into a company now in this pandemic. Got it? Hope you got the things. And if you say I worked as an intern, or if I worked as a data scientist, and if you say speak like learner, again there is a difference. Saying experienced or intern and speaking like a fresher is different. Is different. And saying a fresher and speaking like a fresher is different. If you say fresher, you never worked on it. So even I expect, what is machine learning? Machine learning is supervised. There are two things, labeled and unlabeled. Labeled is supervised, which I use regression, linear regression. I will, okay, you use linear regression. Why? In the sense, you don't know anything about real time. That's the reason you say linear regression. I get it. Okay, this person knows something. He can execute a script. That's the only point I hire you. Even for example, if even I want to hire for my team from a freshers, I seriously look in is whether they can code it or not. That's it. I don't expect a business skills or anything. Even in Dell, when I gone to Dell to deliver the training to the freshers, even there the company people are asking, you want to come up with a POC. They are freshers, recently BTech passed out, and they are learning data science, where I went there to train them on machine learning and deep learning. Then they're expecting them to have POC. They want to look on to various Dell operations. They want to understand the pain areas, and they want to build some POCs, and they want to submit it to the Dell. If they like anything, they will be working on the production, means the large scale application. Even they want to know business knowledge, but they're very good at coding. Means the only one thing we look into fresher is coding. They need to be coders. Irrespective, I don't say I know Python coding. No, Java coding, C coding, whatever the coding we ask, you need to do it. That is the only skill we expect from the freshers. If you are BTech passed out, CSE, or if you say I'm mechanical, ECE, whatever the background is, if you are a coder into multiple things, if you've done some Kaggle, hackathon, hackathons kind of thing, if you're able to do what is that, hacker rank, all these things are meant for freshers. Like people who are at least 2 years experienced, all these things is shit. Why? In the sense, if you say I'm a data scientist and 2 years recently I completed a program from here, they pick you as a fresher and they say what you done in these 2 years and why you came to data science and why you're trying to go as a fresher, why you're going for a lower salary. They don't pay high salary, they go with a lower salary. Why? Now it's my deal. You are trying to go for a shift. 2 years you have a gap. Now I don't consider this two caps. You are going with 2 years of experience, and this experience I don't consider this 2 years. Now you don't have any other way. You done a program somewhere else. Now whatever you are expecting, whatever we are expecting, both are not matching. In case I love your programming skills, I offer you a very low job profile and I hire you. That's the thing what we do. Some companies. This is how it happens. Got it? That's the reason why even Citibank, recently I'm doing one of the program to these people where I gonna do the program recently when I'm sitting with a call with city people, the managers or etc. We are able to notice only one thing. They hire from IITs. Majorly, they hire from IITs. Why? In the sense, they are the people where the concept of IITs is like they no need. Why people prefer IIT? Any guess? Why they prefer IIT? Why not other colleges? Any guess? Why they prefer IIT? Any guess? Anyone? Why they go with top tier institutes, colleges or etc. Why not normal colleges or institutions? Majorly coding skills, and they are self dependent. They are self dependent and they don't come with excuses. They don't come up with execution. They don't come up with excuses. If you give a task, they don't say I don't know. They submit it and they give it. I seriously, when I'm doing training, means I do when I'm doing training to some of the IIT people, I don't teach class first day. I just give them. They don't even know deep learning. They don't even know machine learning. They're very new. They know Python, and I asked them, "Can you write a deep learning script?" And I shared a data to them. They are able to do the scripting and they're able to send it to me. Just I hardly gave them 2 hours of time, and they don't know what is CNN. I said, you need to use CNN for this, and this is the image you want to predict it. That's it. They searched it, they made it, they submitted me the scripting, and I'm able to see like hardly 95% ratio submitted me the project. 95%. They don't give me excuses. That is one of the major reason. They do somehow. Sushant gave me the answer. They make it somehow. That is the goal. Why they go and hire the IITs for fresher roles. In case if you are able to beat this, that's the reason in my programs I do the same thing. I make my people to code it. I don't give any scriptings or nothing. I ask them to code it. The reason why I remove this spoon feeding is in order to take the same concept of IIT. I used to do the same approach here in the career transition programs. I do the same thing. So if you are able to build it like this, yes, you get a lot of opportunities. The same thing happened with what is that, Walmart. Yeah, Walmart is also the same. Yeah, Walmart is also the same. I done training to Walmart, two teams I think so. Even Walmart I done it regularly. I do Walmart freshers regularly. I do even for this one as well, Dell. Even the Dell team same thing. Even the senior people, even the seniors are like 2 years, they are into data science. They feel like they will be asking you what you're training our juniors. Why aren't these people going to rule the freshers? That's how even these people don't know anything. That's how it happens. If you're seriously looking into programming, remove one thing from your brain, that limitation. Like if I learn Python, do I get a job? And don't think about if I learn SQL, even if my brother come near me and if he asks me if I want to learn SQL, all this, I say yes. Why? In the sense, I say like read everything, whatever you find in the internet. But you need to have a plan. Why you are doing it? You need to have a clear plan and you need to be in a position to do anything. That's the only requirement. You need to do SQL, you need to do supersets, you need to go with this one Hadoop thing, you need to do AWS, you need to write lambdas, you need to do whatever you want. Even sometimes, even nowadays, no, but like even 2 to 3 months back, even I used to spend a lot of sleepless nights to deliver my projects. Why? In the sense, it doesn't happen. I need to keep on learning new tools, new techniques, infrastructure. All this deployment is difficult. You need to make sure all these things. Got it? So there is no limit that if I learn Python, if I learn R, if I learn Java, if I learn C, is that sufficient? I don't say it's sufficient. You need to learn it until you work in a company as a data scientist. You need to keep on learning the new things. Got it? That is the mindset you want to build. But while you are learning all this, only one point where you need to learn all this is there is one particular period where you need to learn all this, etc. Miscellaneous things. maybe Hadoop, maybe R programming, maybe JavaScripting. Why? In the sense, most of the time, even we use core Java as well. Most of the big data things, for example, when if we are doing anything to PayPal, means I done one of the customized training program with PayPal. When I'm doing customized training program for PayPal, I want to write all my scripts under Java. I can't use Python over there. I want to write everything using JavaScript, core Java. Why? Understand? PayPal is constructed on top of core Java, and if there is a very good deal as well. In case if I say I know Python, I can't do Java. That's another deal. So you need to write everything based on the customization. To write ML, you want to write ML Java, and the dependency libraries for Java, you can find it in Spark. So you use Spark with the Java API and you write the algorithms. And the big data ecosystem, they're using entire thing runs. PayPal works purely with big data, data engineers and the big data things, Hadoop and all this. So we need to, all these big data things are constructed on top of Java. So even we use Python, but even sometimes Java is also getting popular now because of this ecosystem. It means this is something when you're working with a product-based company. If you're working with something product-based company, you need to ask them. If you crack the interview, and you can ask them, you will be taking 30 days of notice period, right? In that notice period, you can give a call to these people and you can ask, so see sir, or not, you don't say call sir, but you'll be saying, so what exactly your company is working, what tools, what programming languages? If you let us know what is my role exactly, if you let me know, I will be working more on it. Why? In the sense, in this 30 days of notice period, you spend a lot of time on big databases. In case if they say you want to collect the database, you want to do all this, then you learn it. If they say you want to work more time on R, you learn this R programming now in this 30 days. If they say you want to work more time on Java, now you learn this 30 days on Java. So what exactly you go in the work, you need to ask them, the interviewer. Once you cracked it, then you can prepare this 30 days on this. Rather than wasting time on all this area, it's purely waste of time and it going to mislead your path. It takes a very long time to go and to reach your goal. By that time, most of the people get into a data science and you'll be still sitting and waiting for the job. So make the finest way and the fastest way so that you are able to get into a job, and then you learn it. You need to know the reality. That is the reality. Clear? Once confirm me, is everything clear? Now see, again, I'm not touching all this. Let me show you once again the deployment process. I hope you got the deployment. What are the files which are required? I think let us write it down here. You can let me know in the chat. So what are the files required for deployment? In order to construct any deployment, what are all the what are all the files required? So yes, first thing, you want a pickle file. So from your ML algorithm, means like if you're writing a very big lines of script, how many lines of script you're pulling out from your ML algorithm? How many lines of script you're pulling out from your ML algorithm? You're picking from machine learning algorithm. What we have written? How many lines you're picking? You're picking only one line, only model line. So we call it as a serialized file, model.pickle. And the second one, you want a requirement file. What is the purpose of the requirement file? If the requirement file is different, then your pickle file, what happens? Or your backend file, what happens? If I use my requirement file for your application, does it work? My requirement file, does it work for your application? Not exactly. In case if both we are using same libraries, it may work, but in case no, it doesn't work, may not be. So requirement file purpose is for library dependency. And after getting this pickle file, text file, we want the proc file. The purpose of proc file is for what? to make sure to connect it with the web. And the fourth one, you got a proc file, requirement file, pickle file. Then what do you want? You want the HTML file. What is the purpose of HTML file? The purpose of HTML file? Yes, it is front end. It may not be beautiful. HTML may not be beautiful. To make it more beautiful, you can add CSS layers. You can add bootstrapping as well. By using it, you get a better coloring for this HTML. This is for front end. Now, another one you want is all these things, your HTML. Another one, what do you want? You want app.py. It is a backend file. Now you got all the requirements. You got app.py, HTML, proc file, requirement file, and the pickle file. Now you try to store that into a GitHub, and from the GitHub, you try to connect it to the Heroku. So it is getting deployed. So deployed is last but one step. And after the deployment, you go with release. So the purpose of deployment is what? For monitoring your model in the production. To monitor your model in the production, we go with deployment. If the model is doing well in the production, then we try to push it to the release. So from the deployment, so this is like ML approach. So only here, model.pickle, to create this model.pickle, you have this process: business understanding, data collection, data understanding, data cleansing, ML training, ML testing, ML evaluation. Up to this process, we use ML, machine learning. After this process, it comes into what? SDLC, software development lifecycle. Is it clear? And if you say I worked with a company, if you say I'm working as a data scientist, so now they use a GitHub public account or a private account. They will be sharing like your YouTube videos, the private, public GitHub account, you use it, or private GitHub you use it. You use public GitHub or private GitHub? You use private GitHub, where it is owned by your company. You may not be owning that credentials. Your company would be owning it. Yes, company going to have a private GitHub account. You use that. Why? Just for code sharing. So why this DevOps came into the picture? Why this DevOps came into the picture? What is the purpose of DevOps? Why this DevOps came into the picture? Anyone? Development and the operations. The purpose of DevOps is to automate. The purpose of DevOps is to automate the entire development lifecycle. Entire development and the operation lifecycle means like continuous integration and continuous deployment. To automate this lifecycle, we got the DevOps. In this DevOps, we got the 16 to 24 set of tools where we can manage all these tools inside the Jenkins. So why we are going with Jenkins? I think Ravi asked it, the same thing I want to touch. Why we are going is, normally, for example, in a real-time company, like we are not supermans or superheroes to do all the work. Now I am like data scientist, I do the coding. Now my goal is I want to write the coding. So I have written this code. Now this code is available in my system. And I went to the particular trip. I went for some say like darshan to some other temple, some other location. And after 10 days, I came back. So all these developers, like your team, like HTML people, app.people, all these people will be waiting for your model.pickle file. You went for the darshan. You'll be coming back after 10 days. They'll be waiting for you. What do you say? Is that okay? No, right? So like that may not be possible. That's the reason they want to make all those people to combine and sit at one place. They want one common environment where I want the developers to do the coding and they want to push it to the Git version. And from the Git, if for example, if there is a test engineer, now he has written HTML. I'm writing the HTML scripting of front end, I'm pushing to the Git. So from the Git, again, there's testing people who know Selenium or QTP or JUnit testing. These people would be taking the script, they test it. Again, this is the backend person. They want to test it. Again, whatever the script, all these people, all these things, we are posting it into Git, and we need to, all the team together need to work, and all the things need to place at one point. From this, I need to run it. One company, one particular platform where we can operate it from this. And this shell is nothing but we call it as Jenkins. We call it as Jenkins. Is the one particular tree. Under this tree, we have all these tools integrated. That's the reason this is the Jenkins diagram. Is there anywhere they use this diagram? I used to have this diagram. Let me show it. Like when DevOps is booming in the market, I think, let me show you DevOps one. This is the DevOps material. Yeah, this is Jenkins. Under Jenkins, we have all this platform, CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. Things are available inside this Jenkins. So we try to, a lot of tools we have it. For code and commit, we have a lot of tools. For build and config, we have tools. For scan and test, for release, for deployment, for all this, we have different set of tools. We use all these tools. Means we don't use all this, but the suitable, the best, we try to pick it out of this particular things. So that's how we do it. Jenkins is a platform where we try to we install Jenkins first in our system, and after installing Jenkins, we try to install all these tools inside Jenkins: Docker, Git, GitHub. In case Git is like a normal thing, we install it. GitHub is the cloud web based. In this way, we go for each and everything. Got it? Is it clear? So majorly, this is taken care by DevOps team. DevOps engineers would be taking care of all this. DevOps is also a good job profile. It's a boring profile, but by the way, DevOps. Any DevOps engineers here? Any DevOps people? So is it clear? Once confirm me, everyone, up to this whatever we discussed. You got a clear picture about? So anyone who are in my Instagram, they are able to get it. I recently posted one video. I deployed the model to Heroku, but what to do after that? Anyone gone through that video of mine in Instagram? I deployed the model, but what to do? Yeah, this is the process we do. We need to, we are doing deployment, we are doing all this process for what? Why we are constructing ML model, why you are choosing an algorithm. So now by listening to this process, all your algorithms got something small, I think so, right? We used to feel algorithms is something big game, but when you're looking into it, you feel like algorithms got small now. But the entire intelligence is dependent on what? Algorithms may be short, even though I done all this process now. So can I use this application? Even though I'm doing all this process, can I use this application? The one which I deployed now, can I use it? Why? Because of improper model.pickle. This model.pickle rules this entire intelligence. So this model.pickle is dependent on what? This model.pickle is dependent on algorithm. So the right algorithm, this right algorithm is dependent on math. So how you can understand, how you can pick the math, or how you can relate to the math is when you understand the type of automation. When you're understanding the type of automation we are trying to achieve it, what is the kind of automation I'm doing. So how a human is doing this activity, when you're able to visualize a human automation, and when you're able to notice his activities, then you link up with the right math which can mimic the same kind of human behavior, and from that you choose the right algorithm, and this right algorithm you use it so that you are able to get a right intelligence. That is a process. So in order to get the type automation, you want to know the math. And with the math, even one more factor which is dependent is data. For this kind of automation, we need to get the right availability of the data. So all these things need to fall in a proper way. If any of the areas, if you are weak, you are unable to get a proper intelligence. If you're unable to get a proper intelligence, you don't even go to this process steps. Clear? Any doubts up to this, you can ask me. I will be helping you. Chetan, if you don't mind, yeah, you can. You can, if you don't mind, can you call me on Tuesday if you don't mind, or in case if it is urgent, you can call me after the class. You can call me after the class. Why to hold you the things? Okay, you can call me after the class. Now, if anyone are trying to do deployment, don't deploy the models. Uh, don't deploy this one like house pricing. Even I showed you very with a simple data set like gym plan, which is also a kind of stupid data. Which once I thought of doing something different, and I start to came up with this. So if you're trying to construct anything serious, if you say, I want to try seriously on data science career, don't waste your time on house prices or etc. House prices or whatever the data you're doing is only meant for practice. Do it once, you get the practice. After that, try to think, come up with your own business case in your own domain. Like you may be as a fresher thinking, go through which company you want to go with, like finance or etc. Try to think about their problems. If you see any of the people, how people are paying a fat salary is, they try to identify some problems with the current company, and they make sure they have the solution with them. That's where means only when we hire someone or when we go with the hiring is, when you are able to find something valuable with you, then I gonna go with you. I will be investing and I will be hiring you. That is the concept. So when you are going with wasting your time on deploying house pricing, cancer data set, MNIS data set, this kind of data sets, when you are wasting all your time on it, there is no point. So think, you need to spend a lot of time on thinking. When you're thinking on a business, you get a domain and take any project. While you're learning a course or after completion of a course or while you're learning internet, take one particular business case, maybe finance. What is your domain? Manufacturing, healthcare, oil and gas, etc., whatever the domains are there, insurance. And think about what a company can add a value. Make sure you want to buy it. In case if you are constructing something like that, you need to buy it. Even after, means like when you are constructing something, even you buy your bread omelette as well. That's not a big deal. But make sure other person gonna buy your bread omelette or not. Is it something so good in such a way that other person can invest the money and they can get your bread omelette? That's what important is. In a similar note, when you're constructing a POC, when you're constructing some idea, make sure whether you can buy it. Why? In the sense we say ours is good, but think like a customer. Do you seriously buy? Question your model like a customer. Does it make any value? Now, even for this gym plan, why I said it's a bakwas app. Seriously, I feel it like a bakwas. Why? In the sense, I know age, height, and weight. I know whether you have my kind of this or not. What is the value I can add to a customer? Just to show you deployment, I made it. But to a customer, there is no value. I want to construct something which add a value. You need to think it in those lines and you want to go for it. Got it? And try to invest your time on doing, think something value where the people can buy it. Now, if anyone, if a financial institute is calling you, like, hey, I'm working with some this particular healthcare industry, then they will be giving a call to you and you say, I recently worked on a POC, something this. That's what increases the credibility. And you can share that link even to the person, and whatever you worked, whatever the process you done, how you collected the data, how you thought of business, why you collected it, how you done the understanding, why this parameters, why this deployment, everything you can explain it in detail. That helps the particular interviewer to decide, okay, this guy is so good. And these people know that this person is not into the race of learning the algorithms, but he is something into the game of learning the right thing to a company. That's what you need to do. In case whenever you find time, do this. Don't get into the race of learning the algorithms. Got it? Learning Python, doing the same coding 1,000 times, doing the same data set, doing the same data taking. That's what I feel like when people ask me, Kant, can you give me one more assignment on classification algorithm? I feel like, what? Sometimes I feel like even beating, but I can't do. But by instance, it's like foolish question. I feel like it's foolish. By instance, learning the same algorithm or same data multiple times, taking any data, working on Kaggle. If you are seriously interested in getting a money in Kaggle, work on it. Seriously interested in getting a money, winning a game of Kaggle, work on it. If you want to get practice on coding, get into Kaggle. But if you want to get into a job, what is the goal? What is the goal? Job, Kaggle competition, fresher, programming. What is the goal? Based on the goal, make your path ready. One project with this life cycle is sufficient. No need to spend years to do all this. In case Kant, I want even more better. Do one thing. Take your data, whatever you created, create a small database and store this data into that database. And from that database, push it into Python and do the process. Again, now you can say, I'm doing from database, I'm doing it. Whatever the things you want to learn it, don't understand it, take a project, and in this project make sure everything are present. Now this project is something complex, comprehensive, and this project is sufficient, and you can go to, and this project is not you find it internet, this is something which got it from your brain, and you can play with it, you can speak like crazy. There you get the job openings. Do it like this, it works. Rather than taking some other people data, working on it, try it like this. Think about business idea. It's not easy to get the idea, it takes time, but think on it. Django, you can use it, Nitin, or you can write it using Java. You can write it using Java as well. Sometimes we write ML algorithms, we push it into d3.js. why I don't want any front end or back end, you can directly deploy it using AWS SageMaker. In this way, we do it. A lot of ways we can do. Is it clear? Everyone, once confirm me. All right. I will be sharing the script to your Drive link. You can check it up, these things. And all right, then in our next week, we go with deep learning and even deployment with deep learning. Next week, I may try with something different deployment. All right, everyone. So try to spend time. Yesterday, we discussed about regression. Today, we gone through this one ML with deployment. So see you on next week. I'll be uploading it in your Drive. You can check it. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.